Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of CEO and Market Expert Interviews. I'm your host, Lucia, and some of you know me as Triangle Investor from social medias. Today, I'm joined by Kasper Rasmunssen, aka Usling from X, YouTube, and Substack. He has been my follow for years now, a great guy, great value, and I'm a proud subscriber of his technical analysis. But let's give a mic to Kasper. Buddy, welcome to my show. It is your first time here, but definitely not the last. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's my first time, even though we have been talking on Zoom and on Twitter for, I think, 2 years now, back and forth. So time goes by pretty fast, I guess. But yeah, thank you for being on. And also just a quick shout out to you. You have grown your YouTube channel quite far, because I remember, if it's like a year ago or whatever, you started to talk to me with regarding to do some stuff together. You started your YouTube, and now you have many multiples of thousands of followers, and that's a big accomplishment. So that's a very good job.
Yeah, thank you very much. It looks like we are doing a good job, probably, as our following is really growing. As I announced on the social medias that you will be my guest, I announced that we will cover mostly uranium today. But before we do that, tell me a word or two about yourself and your technical analysis services. And actually, how can people subscribe to your technical analysis?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Yes, my name is Kasper, and I'm educated an engineer. So numbers and all that has always been somewhat of an interest to me. And yeah, basically with regarding to my technical analysis journey, I found Francis Hunt. You know him from the Market Sniper on YouTube, I think 5 years ago. And for some reason, what he showed in that video just caught my attention straight away. And yeah, I watched him, everything that he had at that point in time. And then I just said to myself, this is what I need to dive into and spend most of my free time capacity to become better at. I started the Twitter, I think, roughly 3 to 4 years ago, just starting to post with 0 followers, and has basically, grown ever since. Started YouTube a year or 18 months ago. I did that for quite some time. And then I started to do the private, you can say, or Substack, where, getting followers with subscriptions, to do more detailed stuff, individual stocks, but also more detailed, let's say, week-to-week stuff, where most of the time for the YouTube, it's more, overall broader market updates that I do there. So I have quite a few things going, but again, it's always nice to hear people, in the comments that they like what they're seeing. So that's what keeps me going. So that's basically my journey, and now I'm here on your show for the first time, so it's fantastic.
It's fantastic, definitely, and I will leave the link so people can reach out to you and subscribe. Kasper, I want to touch my first question on what commodities are you personally bullish, and what is actually your investment philosophy?
2 things. I have my main philosophy with regarding to technical trading and investing is let's say the long-term portfolio, getting great 2-year, 4-year, even 5-year long-term entries, and just ride it out, even though it can be very difficult. As you know, with uranium, it's a wild horse to stay on top of. So it is basically mostly the long-term entries that I'm trying to find on the weekly, maybe even the monthly timeframes sometimes, and then just ride it out. And then I'm also trying to build the trading account, up in size to get that running as well. So it's basically the technique that I use is, you can say, is a mix of at least 2 guys, mainly the Market Sniper. I have taken some of his, the way he does things, and Borak, which is also another guy that I follow very, very much, and then my own. So it's kind of a mix of those 2 guys and my own, and yeah, that's basically how I've come up with this strategy that I'm trying to use every day and become better at. So
yeah, the best quote I have heard about the fundamental analysis and technical analysis is the fundamental analysis tells you what to buy, and the technical analysis tells you when to buy. Are you in line with that approach?
Yeah, for sure. I think I even said it on one interview, back in the day as well. So I completely agree. But let's not forget, technical analysis is not a 100% sure thing, right? It's just a way to align you, in the upper range of the probabilities. Let's say if you can hit like 70% correct, and you know exactly when to get out if you're wrong. I mean, I think you have a great advantage of most people, when it comes to investing. So again, if you just have your own system that you truly know how to work around, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I mean, you should just stay true to that system, and of course improve. Copying anyone's system will not get you anywhere, because you don't know basically when to get out, or you don't understand the trade or the entry. So yeah, I completely agree. Technicals has definitely been a huge gain, or from a personal experience, but also from investing and what has happened for the past 4 years. It has been quite a journey, personally and financially. It has been great. So
Kasper, let's cover uranium.
Let's
the
do it.
floor is yours for the technical analysis. I would like if we can cover the ETFs and the new important ratios. And of course, we will cover after that some uranium names. But the floor is yours, please.
Yes, I'm just going to show just a very quick, if I can get my screen to work here. For some reason, it's a little bit messy here. I'm just going to show you, without any technicals, the URA chart, because as you know, it goes back further than the URNM.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to share my screen here. Hopefully you can let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool. So yeah, uranium has been, as I said, a wild ride to be a part of, and it has definitely tested, a lot of my emotions, I guess yours as well, and other people, because just like we saw in the previous bull market in the 2000s, you had, I think, 40% plus pullbacks along the way. So it is definitely, if you don't have patience, it's definitely not for you. And I think that's a general thing in mining. If gold and silver, copper miners, and all that, you need to be resilient with your emotions to invest in such a volatile sector.
You have to have the stomach. Definitely.
Yeah, you have to, and you have to believe in the thesis. Even though I'm more or less a pure technical guy, of course I know the fundamentals behind uranium, and as you cover on your channel, the fundamentals are just fantastic. It doesn't mean that we go up in a straight line, obviously, because we are correlated to the oil market and the overall market. But overall, the fundamentals are just fantastic, and I think still, even though I think the sentiment right now for uranium is a little bit down the drain, even though we had a pop this Friday, I still think uranium, if you can stick to the bull market and the wild ride, I think will be potentially, again, one of the best opportunities to really do a great investment over the next years to come.
Sorry, Kasper, sorry to interrupt you, but some people already asked me that question. Do you believe that Friday, the Good Friday, was the false breakup or false uranium, a small up leg, or something else?
I don't. I'm not sure yet. I mean, I think we will get into the URNM chart in just a minute here.
Sure. Sorry.
I don't think that we are there yet. But again, it was a great pop, and it definitely shook. The bears, or the people that are short, definitely had a rough day, and maybe they're getting a little bit worried. So, but I'm not confirmed that we are there just yet. But very quickly here for the URA, without any technicals, as you can see here, we had this one only goes back to 2011. We actually had a higher peak in 08 or 07. I can't remember. We had a huge bear market. Obviously, the Fukushima incident didn't help by any means, because all of a sudden you had Japan starting to sell out of all their huge reserves that they had. But the bear market ended it in 2016. Then we based out for 5 years. And actually, during that period, that's even before I got interested in uranium. The fundamentals were really great, but you can just imagine the fundamentals are getting better and better. But you had 5 years where basically you did nothing, right? Just going sideways. It must have been really frustrating. And just like anything else, yeah, just like anything else, we had that major blow off top to the downside in the start of 2020, basically together with everything else.
Yeah.
And there is a great, at least a saying that every bear market or bull market ends in a blow off top, in a to the downside or to the upside, depending on if you're in a bear market or in a bull market. And that was what we had, in my opinion, in 2020. You can see it here.
Yeah.
That is the blow off top to the downside. Every, the last hope that the bulls had got completely wiped out, and then the uptrend began. And basically, looking at a long-term time frame, we have been in an uptrend ever since. Even though we had like half a year of consolidation and then a little pop and pull back again here, overall, long-term, looking at the monthly, we are in an uptrend for the uranium miners, even though it doesn't feel like it as we speak.
Yeah, but the bull market from this chart is still here, right? It's not broken.
Yeah, it has. And that's also why I have my long-term uranium portfolio that I'm not touching. I think I bought roughly 80% of that, late 2020, when we finally, at least from what I did back then, when we finally broke out into the bull market after that huge collapse over here.
Yeah.
But basically, ever since, we have been in a bull market, and I will basically, I think people that are saying that we are not in a bull market, I think they are wrong. This is not a bull market that lasts for like 20 days or like 30 days. This is a multi-year bull market, and the fundamentals are great, and the price will also show that in the future, in my opinion. So, but let's go into it here just very quickly here for the URNM. I have URNM, then I have 5 stocks that we talked about to go through, and then a few ratios.
Sure, please do.
And just cut me off if you have something you want to ask, and then I can try to do my best here. So again, this is the end of the bear market in March 2020. Ever since we rallied, we actually had a standard, technical 1 to 5 Elliott wave there. Again, I don't use Elliott waves that much, but I like to note them when they are quite obvious. I'm not the best at Elliott waves, I will admit that. But again, we had a beautiful 1 to 5 here, in my opinion. And then we had a very emotional 18 months worth of sideways action. And then summer of 2023, we finally broke the squeeze, the triangle, finally. And I also posted that on Twitter that, this is the time to be very bullish on uranium. I did think that we were going to actually be higher now than where we actually are, because we had 2 times where we tried to break the previous triangle high over here, the high from 2021, and both times we got slammed down. So
those are the double tops.
Yeah, exactly, the double tops here. We had that double top. We couldn't get the momentum going.
Yeah,
and then it's not a textbook, but then we did also form during that period a double-headed inverted head and shoulders, which is not seen often. Usually, you only see them. Usually, you have only one head, right? You have that's your topping pattern, and not but you can have them with 2 tops. And basically, July was when we broke down heavily in the short term, and that is also something that I talked about with the members on Substack, that this is now not a time to be happy about the uranium trade. You can clearly see here we had a big technical breakdown right here.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie here and say that I'm right all the time, because I also said on the Substack that when we broke that little squeeze, that pop there, I was saying this is it. This is where we're going to go to have that big move that we've been waiting for. And clearly that was not the case. Clearly. So again, technical trading, you're not right all the time, and this is definitely one of my not proudest moments, but again, I just say it as it is, and clearly we were wrong when we broke that neckline there. So
yeah, I'm not a technical guy, but by looking at that, I would also say it will go up and not down like this, definitely.
Yeah, especially since we actually popped back above finally again the triangle high over here, the 51 or 52 level. Yeah. That is when I was okay, this is going to be the move. But yeah, it wasn't, clearly. So the neckline here got broken, and the thing about a head and shoulders, if you can actually take the distance and add it to there, and we actually hit it to perfection down here with that huge collapse that we had. And these candles here, by the way, I'm using Heikin-Ashi candles because I think it's better for the viewers to see because they are more clear. Yeah, visible. Yeah, exactly. And this was obviously the 3 days where we had the overall markets doing some really bad things with the yen carry trade, and you had the tech and everything basically selling off. So, but we did hit that measured move to perfection. And also, if we zoom out here, you can see that, again, usually I don't like to have these, support and resistance zones this wide. Usually you want to have them smaller. But you can see that we do have a lot of interactions with this zone here, depending on where we are. So there is a lot of support and resistance basically between 36 and 39. So we have like a 8% range there. And again, we are still above, so we have it as support. What are we looking at now for the URNM is basically we are in a downtrend. No denying that. We have the 30 weekly moving average coming down. So we are definitely in a downtrend until that is taken out. And you can also see this parallel here going down. So that is basically the situation right now. And with regarding to your question, if this is last Friday, if that was the low or the turning point, I will say that when and if we break the upper rail, the trend line here and the 30 weekly, somewhere maybe $45, $46, $47, that is when I will say yes, this is with a high likelihood a great potential bottom here that we have made. So you can see here the pivot low roughly again 45, breaking out of the two resistances. Then I will be in the camp that yes, we are definitely with a high probability going to grind it higher.
Yeah, but, understood. So 45, 46, if we break that, then that's it. But when I look at this, 33 is in the cards as well, right?
Yes, exactly. You completely correct here. You still have this overall golden channel that goes back 4 years. And again, we could just as easily come down here. And if we do, it will obviously not be the greatest moment in time during that period. But again, I'm also in the camp that is where you want to load up or at least add into your position. Not going to say that is the bottom, but again, you're buying at a technical huge support trend line there. So that should at least give a bounce. How high it will go, we don't know, obviously, but
of course.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm still saying that we are in a on the daily time frame in a downtrend, and it might take the rest of September if we want to undo that here. Otherwise, it could get prolonged again into October and November.
Got it.
And if we have an overall market correction, that will also pull down uranium. Even it doesn't matter how great the fundamentals are, if you have the overall markets selling off, then you will very rarely have a great performance in like, let's say, uranium or any other sector, because it's everyone is selling. So
I'm not afraid of uranium fundamentals. They are better than ever, but I'm afraid of the general markets.
Yeah, me too. And so long-term, monthly, weekly time frame, still bullish. I will get scared though if we start to bounce here and then dribble below. Then you're talking a different game all of a sudden on the long-term time frames. But until then, this is just a daily, in quotes, just a daily downtrend that should resolve to the upside, late 2024 and then into 2025 if the markets allow us to go higher. So.
Got it. Denison, that's my biggest
Mines.
position. What were you saying now? It's my biggest position.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's at least top 5. I will even go as far and say top 3. Also with regarding to the position, and just like most of the uranium stocks, I bought more or less everything here in November 2020. So I'm pretty happy with that entry.
Same here.
So it's again, you could have done better, but again, not many people did buy that dip because basically no one was buying. So maybe a few did, but again, I'm really happy with that entry for most of my uranium stocks, and I have been adding in a little bit lately here. Mega Uranium, for instance, I bought a little bit last week just to add into that position. CanAlaska is probably one of the best looking charts with regarding to
technicals, really.
Yeah, it is. It's actually one of the few stocks that is holding up quite well. So if we have the time, maybe we can have a quick glimpse at that. Sure, but I will speed up here the technicals. Again, we have been talking about the bear market and the basing. So I think I'm only going to focus on the previous 4 years on the charts. Otherwise, we have maybe too much to talk about for one video, because it takes a long time to go through that. So, but still, here again, this is the Denison, also again holding up quite nicely. And now at this moment in time, we are only, and I say only in quotes because we are down 33%. But as you know, and hopefully your viewers as well knows, that a 33% pullback in a mining stock is basically standard. You get that basically in like a week, and then it pops 30% again. So that is basically standard, nothing to really be afraid about.
Especially for uranium, business as usual.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a normal Monday morning, I guess, waking up to the pain sometimes.
Before you drink your first coffee, you see down 30%. Yeah,
exactly. But again, once you've been in this for like the past 4 years, you're getting used to it. At least I am. So I'm not, it doesn't bother me as much as it did, back, 3 years ago. But overall here again, you can see that in the short term, we still have the 30 weekly coming down here. Again, same thing as the URA. We had that big technical breakdown here. We had a somewhat of a beautiful blue, the channel here we broke, and ever since we basically collapsed down to a very important long-term trend line. You can see we're going back to basically 2007. So I assume that is the peak, in Denison back then. And then we have the high from over here, and then we're testing it again here. So this is a spot where you very often, that the pullback that we have seen in the past few months here is often over, and that's it, because you're testing that 15-year long trend line. And so if we hold here, that's the confirmation that the big breakout, which has happened here, confirmation, and then we should again resume to the upside. Again, it's all based on probabilities, as you know. Nothing is set in stone. So, but overall here, I think still Denison is looking good. Depending on the downtrend here, we shall see how long time it takes. I think we can go into the daily and see here that this, again, these 3 days that we had, together with the overall markets, that momentum to the downside really takes a long time to undo. You can see it started all the way up here, where 3 days, and then basically we're now grinding higher. And until we take out, roughly $2 here on the Denison, I'm not entirely convinced that we have that we have the bottom just yet. But again, overall, still you can see again the blow off top to the downside, and again you can see ever since we basically bottomed, we're still up 500%, 400%. So it hasn't been all that bad. People have to remember that we are still up many multiples, and nothing.
People have short memories. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is, and it's actually funny, because when you are on Twitter, you can actually see the Twitter sentiment, and when it gets really bad, you're somewhat close to the bottom, and the other way around as well. When people are getting too excited, you got to be careful. It's
believe me, I bought a lot of stocks just on the Twitter sentiment. Believe me.
Yeah. It's a pretty good indicator, to be honest, because that is the psychology of the investors. So
exactly.
So yeah, Denison here is at a really important retest of a 15-year. 15, that's a long time. A trend line, which was resistance. You can see here basically again resistance, small pullback, finally broke out, and then we grinded higher, collapsing, and that's the big retest, the weekly time retest, and hopefully we hold here.
Okay.
So Cameco.
Yeah, let's do Cameco.
Yeah, Cameco. Again, this is the blue chip of all uranium stocks. Maybe you have Kazatomprom in there, maybe, but I will say that Cameco by far is the big mothership of uranium stocks. And again, just admire that we had a blue chip doing 1,000%. Yes, we have pulled back now, but you have a major company. At that point in time, I think it was like 2 billion, and now we are roughly 20 billion or 30 billion company. It's a major company now, and And again, if you have just a little bit of technical understanding, we pulled back basically at the previous all-time high. So it's no surprise that you're getting a lot of selling at that point in time, but also a lot of people going short. You have to understand it works both ways. So
yeah,
it's a big level for the short-term traders to really short it heavily and be in it for, like, I don't know how long they are, but for a short period of time, and then they're out again. So for me, that's still, a beautiful uptrend here. You can just see the oscillation. It has just a beautiful oscillation here. And yeah, we are still in the overall golden uptrend. And I'm not worried about Cameco, especially since how well it has done. Cameco, and I think its next gen has basically pulled up the entire ETF, from the summer, because a lot of the smaller stocks has done poorly.
yeah.
So yeah, still heavily bullish on Cameco, and the previous price action. Again, I want to show again that summer of 2023. That is just a textbook long-term entry. You have a 18 months here worth of sideways action, just building up pressure, and it's getting released to the upside. That is your entry.
Yeah.
If you're looking for the long-term entries, that is just a beautiful one here. And ever since we hit that all-time high at roughly, 56 or so, we have had a lot of volatility, but within a broadening structure. And usually, at least from my experience, they are a little bit more difficult to predict the direction. But you can see that we have this kind of oscillating here, and hopefully, again, the momentum is still to the upside. So hopefully we are starting to see that, move again at some point in time here.
Yeah, but in the short term, we will see more resistance, as I see it.
Yeah, exactly. We still have some short-term momentum here. If you just look at if you count the candles, you can just see we have like 9 red candles and only a few green candles. So again, just based on that, you can clearly see that we are more in a downtrend. And if you look back only a few months here. So again, here I wouldn't be surprised if we can come all the way down to the lower side of the golden there, and then potentially go higher. So again, I'm not going to call the bottom in uranium at the moment. I still think we need 1 to 2 months at the earliest to say, okay, this is where we're going higher. So yeah, Cameco, just again, I know many people have been really, really frustrated with uranium overall, and I think it's the fact that many people are getting into, me included, by the way. I have a lot of the small guys, and they have done really poorly. But if you have just bought the Sprott physical and the blue chip Cameco, you would have been golden for the past 4 years. You wouldn't have been complaining. So
yeah, the producers, the explorers didn't perform well. That's a fact.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and I think the same will go on if we just quickly go over to the gold and silver sector, because they are also looking extremely bullish. But I think we will see the same again here, that you will have the big guys, the big billion-dollar market cap companies do really well. Obviously, the small guys will do as well. But when you get those first big pullbacks, I mean, I think the explorers will get crushed at that point in time. Before eventually going higher, I know, but they will suffer big time. So I think we will see the same here.
Yeah, bigger risk and bigger reward with explorers.
Exactly. So especially with the explorers, I think it's let's say you have let's say you make a double at some point in time. I think just taking 50% off, just to purely cover your risk, and basically at that point in time you just have play money, is actually quite a good thing to do for your mental health, because whatever happens, you don't care really.
Yeah, Kasper, that is what I'm doing for the last 15 years. I buy a stock when I see 100%, 150%. I don't take 50% of the table. I take some 35, 40%.
Yeah, exactly.
The rest is a free ride for me, if I believe in the sector.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I know you can make more money, having that full position, but again, when you get these pullbacks, the 60, the maybe even 80%, they are gonna sting so bad. And I know many people can
handle that.
Yeah, so it's very mentally very, very difficult to do. So, but again, overall Cameco here, we have to see how big this pullback will be. But again, we have broken the big 15-year major fractal here, and we have gone basically up ever since. So that is quite a ride for Cameco.
Yeah.
I wish I had more and not wasted, the time into the explorers. But yeah, it is what it is. So
Yeah. enCore.
enCore. Actually, I think this is, from the smaller miners or the smaller uranium stock, this is probably my biggest position, enCore. And yeah, we will focus here on the past 4 years. Again, you can see the breakout there in 2020. It broke out a little bit earlier than the most of them did, but again, it has just been a very quick ride there to the recent top at $7, and then again we had that 18 months worth of basically grinding downwards, and we finally popped again, roughly summer 2023, fighting the all-time high. They can always be a pain. They are most of the time always a pain to break through, because you have a lot of people that has bought in this surge here and they want to get out. You know how it works, right? So you're having a lot of sellers, you're having a lot of people that are going short. And yeah, but again, here overall, looking at just the recent move up here, it's still looking mighty fine to me. Again, potentially some sort of a bit skewed, but again, potentially cup and handle play in action here. And again, I'm very confident that we are going to break, the $7 at some point in time. And then the beauty of enCore is actually we have a very well-defined 10-year channel here. If things gets really bad, we could see that tag again, but that is when things will get really, really bad. That's not just for uranium. You will see the entire markets do insanely well in order to hit that.
Yeah.
But again, if we start to break, it is my theory or target that we're going to visit the upper, and that will also be my exit for enCore. But again, this is on a log scale, so you can just see how further we potentially still have to go until we hit that target in the future. So yeah, I don't have much to say about enCore other than it is one of my biggest positions, and I still think the overall long-term charts looks nice, even though we are down. How much are we down now, actually? Again, 33%. So
yeah, when it comes to fundamentals, in my opinion, of those 5 names we are covering today, enCore is the most undervalued in my opinion, and also have a good position in enCore. And frankly, I am looking for a good entry point again to have another position open in enCore. So if I ask you what is the best entry level next for enCore, what would you say to me?
I think there are different ways of approaching it. I think if we are still having more downside, you have this purple trend line here breaking out, retesting again. So if we get all the way down to here at roughly, let's call it 3.20,
okay,
that will probably be a place where you should add more, at least into your position, based on that big technical trend line. But that is also again 40% away from here, so that's a long way down. But it is entirely possible if we cannot undo the downward momentum, because you can also see the 30 weekly is starting to come down. So there's no question in my book that we are in a short-term downtrend here. It just needs to see how fast we can undo that. Going to the daily here, right there, you can also see, if you want to add in, you can actually see some textbook breakdown here and retesting of that level right there. So if we, in the very short term, I'm talking maybe a few weeks, if we can pop back above there, then it looks extremely nice all of a sudden, extremely. But until then, I'm still in the camp that we are at best going sideways and then potentially break. So yeah, it's still, again, we need to undo 3 resistances here and now before I can say enCore is definitely ready for yet another push to the $7 dollar level up there. And if we break here very soon, this will be the 3rd time, and then we all more or less always get a little bit of a pullback, and then we break on the 4th. The 4th break is the most often seen when you're looking at big breakouts. So, and again, I'm not an expert in the Elliott wave, but potentially we have, we are over with this pullback, and could be in a position where we are breaking out and undoing all this short-term momentum. So
okay. Uranium Energy Corp, UUC.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the bit more difficult charts to do because it's not as clear as the other. Again, here I'm just going to pinpoint again this 10-year mega, downward channel that you have here, just almost perfection. And also look where the bottom were at the March 2020. Again, more or less perfection. Big break here. We even had a breakaway gap, as you can see right there. And ever since we have basically gone up. I know it has been volatile. You can see we're basically in an upsloping range that is quite heavy. It goes from, in dollar terms, it is $5. That's the width of that. And yeah, we are. You can see that collapse that we had together with the overall market was basically. You can also see that's a big level. If you're looking back through history, you have a lot of things going on there in, roughly $4. So potentially we have that bottom here. But again, when I mentioned that UEC is a bit difficult to chart, it's because you don't have these very sharp trend lines that you can add, because you're basically getting these rounding formations. And the way I do technicals there, I'm not able to project any trend lines up from those. So, but again, here UEC is still, we had that mega collapse there, move up, bull flag, and now we're just grinding higher. And we could have a moment going all the way down to roughly 3.20 here if we are really getting to go down further. But again, getting down to there, a tad above 3 is also a spot where you should be looking to see if we are seeing the buyer stepping in due to this 3-year, 4-year parallel channel here. So yeah, UEC is a bit difficult to chart, but again, this is also a top 5 of my positions, and again, happy with the trade there in 2020. So still riding it out here, and on the monthly you can actually see potentially we have a few days left, a somewhat of a hammer here on the candlestick. So
UEC went from 23 cents to $1.39, right?
I think so.
Yeah, 9.39 or 9.29. What was the top?
Yes, that is basically if you were the one guy who bought down there. I know many people didn't, but again, if we take, where I think most,
let's say 50 cents or 60 cents, nevertheless.
Yeah, but even if you take the big breakout there at roughly $1, you're still talking 600% from to the top, and now still 330%. And if that is not good enough for you, I don't know what is.
And some people say there is no uranium bull market.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell is this then?
Yeah, I completely agree. They have done really well, and the volatility is the name of the game when it comes to mining, and uranium is definitely no exception. So
yeah.
Last but not least here, UUU again, also one of the guys that I have most into. I think actually when you mentioned these, I think these are probably, maybe except from Cameco, these are the top 5 that I have. So that's a great pick from your side that I have to do those. So yeah, also this is Energy Fuels, has actually done not poorly, but again, it has been it didn't participate in that 2023 move that most of the other guys saw. For reasons I have no idea. Maybe there are some fundamentals that I'm not aware of. I don't know, because basically only what UUU did right here was to go from $6.5 to $9, and basically it was still within that overall long-term consolidation there. And as you can see here, if you are quick with your view here, that we actually had a big technical breakdown there. And I was really, again, when I see this type of pattern here, I'm always extremely bullish, because usually they lead to the upside. But clearly we broke down from 5.3 to roughly 4.5. And if you zoom back here just a tiny bit here, you can also see this level 4.5. It goes back to the big low in 08. Then you have a lot of stuff going on at that level almost here as well. And you can just see here that this is a big support level at 4.5. So it's not a surprise to me that we're getting a bounce here, but definitely that technical breakdown there is a tiny bit worrisome given the fact that I think the fundamentals overall, again, maybe there's something that I don't know, but the overall fundamental for UUU should have done better, ever since we did have that pop in summer of 2023. So underperforming here by one of the bigger guys, and yeah, we shall see how it goes. But for now, it's just like the other two or the other four in a downward, pressure. So to the downside. So
yeah.
So but I will say this though: if we have a big parallel here, and again, potentially if we get down here to roughly $4, I'm expecting. Again, I don't know. I only have 3 points for now, but there should be a big move waiting there at $4. Again, should be. It's not set in stone, as I keep saying, because that's technicals. But again, we should see a lot of buying, a tad above 4 if we get down to there.
Okay. You said that CanAlaska has one of the prettiest charts.
Yeah, let's.
Do you have the time to show us?
Yeah, sure. I can quickly go through it. Maybe I should delete some of the stuff because there's a lot of things going on there. But if we go in here, this is CanAlaska, same blow off top to the downside, mega surge, and then you had this triangle here, and basically you can see here we are actually not quite far off the big 2021 high, which most of the stocks are actually down in maybe 30, 40, 50% or even more. And we are only down 18% now, and we are consolidating above. That's usually a good sign.
Yeah. And
the short-term uptrend channel is still very much intact. You can see we have a lot of things going on at that. So again, here, if I will add a trend line here, you can see we are basically very close. Maybe some would even say we have broken out of that. That's roughly 5 months worth of consolidation here for CanAlaska. So CanAlaska looks surprisingly really good. Again, from why it looks so much better than UUU, I don't know. It's just the charts telling me that CanAlaska, for some reason, people are buying into that a lot more than the energy fuels. So
yeah, they had a recent discovery, some impressive grades.
Yes,
probably,
exactly.
Yeah, that's the reason.
That was over here. Yeah, okay, so it has been popped and then gone sideways. Yeah, that's
correct.
But
they brought some new assays recently as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is clear to me that people are more bullish on CanAlaska than energy fuels, just based on what I'm seeing. Again, why and all that, I don't know, but they are. So
this is actually the only explorer that has that kind of nice chart. The other explorers probably have different charting.
Yeah, they are.
Let's take one example of explorer. Let's say
I can show you one. I know one. I know one. I don't know. I think it's an explorer, and they had a lot of great drilling.
Yeah,
but
great example.
Again, holy bananas, right? This has just been.
Yeah, it's bleeding all the way.
If you measure from the top there again, basically ever since the entire market, the entire uranium bull market peaked there in 2021, it is down 90%. Again, no buying, nothing. Every setup that you have basically is just bearish setups, more or less, right? You have these.
Yeah.
So it has just been, for some reason, again, people are not buying into baseload at all.
It's unbelievable. I know even one stock that probably has the worst chart. It's Kraken Energy, UUSA.
I haven't been looking at for ages, so that might be. I have something on here. Maybe again, if you parallel that, you have a yeah, exactly.
It's just even worse.
It's just going down. I mean, there's no one. Maybe it's because they need financing, or I don't know. But again, it's just these are not the ones you want to buy. Let's say we have that next leg up within the next 3-4 months. Kraken Energy, you shouldn't be involved in because it has done so poorly. And again, there are way better options than Kraken Energy. So if you are invested into Kraken Energy, I'm sorry, but that's my opinion. It's just there are so
I'm
many.
not invested.
there are so many options, and you don't need to be invested in all of them. Maybe if you have like 5 or 10, that's enough. But Kraken Energy shouldn't be on your radar at all. Sorry to say.
From $7 to 8 cents. No, 4 cents. What is the low here?
6 cents. Yeah, 5.50. Yeah, 5. It's just completely, you know, down the drain.
Capitulation. Yeah.
And yes, let's say we have that, you know, bigger move in uranium. It will do somewhat great. Well, it will still perform to some degree nicely, but again, I'm still in the camp that you have a lot less risk in the other, and they will still do will still probably do better, because if you have a downturn in a sector, and the ones that does the best in that downturn is usually the ones that will perform better on the way up as well. So
so we can leave the explorers for our next interview if you agree.
Yeah, we can have that. There are many explorers, many charts that is looking really
nasty,
similar-ish to the baseload. But again, if you want to have explorers, which I do, I'm not gonna lie, I have explorers that I still think they are up a bit, you know, depending on the entry back in 2020. But again, some of them are also down a big time. So no one is perfect, of course. But yeah, we can have a talk where we try to find the best picks that there is, because
there are few quality explorers. I own them really, and I know the management over there, and I can say, let's say, for 5 or 7 or 8 names, uranium explorers that are worth so taking it to your radar. But we will cover that for
let's schedule that for the not so distant future.
Yeah, definitely. You can unshare the screen, Kasper, please.
Can I show one quick ratio?
Yeah, sure.
Just very, because I have if you have the time, I want to show it too.
No, I have the time. I thought that you don't have it. Yeah.
No, I mean, I have. I think 5 more minutes is perfect for me. That's
please
perfect. So this is the URA divided by the uranium spot price, which is, if you want to invest into uranium, a very, very important chart. And the reason why many people are saying that we are not in a uranium bull market actually has some sort of validity to that statement. If you measure the uranium miners in uranium, because basically we haven't had a real big period, a long period, where the miners has outperformed the metal, and usually that's what you want to see, you know, in this in a bull market. We have had 2 pops. You know, we had one in 2016, and then obviously from 2020 to 2021. And what I'm thinking, and obviously hoping, is that this is called, in my opinion, this is a Vikov accumulation pattern. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Otherwise, people can look it up on YouTube. But again, what we're seeing here is still a textbook accumulation phase where people are accumulating miners in relation to the metal over the past 10 years. And if that's the case, again, people can go and look it up. We should, again, if we start to move here, that's when the real move is waiting, because basically it looks something like this, and then we will stall here, basing, and then we will blast higher. So again, if you have the opportunity, you can show that on your channel or in the video or whatever. But again, that is what it could look like. I'm not saying that it's going to, but if that's the case, you can have a period where miners will all of a sudden start to do 100, 200% in relation to the commodity itself. And I think the commodity will also perform quite nicely if that's the case, what we're seeing. So, but remember, this is a 10-year pattern. So again, it's not next week that we're going to see those prices. This will take 3 years maybe to get to those levels, maybe 4 years, depending on how fast we go. So
yeah,
and I actually thought that we were going to pop right here. This is exactly where I was extremely bullish. And if you remember that pop we had on URA, where I said, this is it, this is where we're going to really see the gains, that's that candle there. I was very confident
that was in May, or
I can't remember when it was. It's probably around May, yeah, where we had that candle on the URA where I said, this is it. That's this candle here on the ratio. And I was very confident that we were going to break the blue resistance and the last golden trend line, and we were ready to go. Clearly, that was not the case. So
Never mind.
never mind. But yeah, that was the reason also why I said this is the time to be extremely long uranium. So
yeah.
And
Good
last
call.
but last but not least here, I just want to show you something, at least something that I find amazing.
Yeah.
And why am I showing you the silver to gold ratio? I want to add in here the URA. I would
That's
have done
interesting.
I would have done the URNM, but as you know, it goes back only 4 years. So
Yeah.
so I want to just quickly do the depending on it. I think it's best to maybe just overlay them like this, like that. Good.
Yeah.
So again, this goes back to 2010. And if you overlay, you can overlay the GDX and the SIL or the SIL, the silver miners, URNM, and to some degree also the copper miners. What I have seen and what I am firmly believe in is that the mining sector follows heavily the silver outperformance of gold. And
Interesting.
if that's the case, many people, including me, are saying that we are on the verge of a big breakout in the gold miners. Therefore, silver should start to outperform, and therefore also uranium miners should start to outperform. Because clearly, you can see here that they are basically following each other more or less, right? All the peaks and valleys are roughly aligned here. And that's also why I'm saying that if you are bullish on gold and silver miners, you should also be bullish on uranium and vice versa, because uranium is energy, and the energy sector and gold and silver are also, they are very much, linked together. So that's also one of the reasons why I'm still extremely bullish on uranium, because if personally I'm more bullish now on gold and silver miners, but from what I know with this ratio, I know uranium miners will follow. Well, I don't know, but I'm quite sure that they will follow.
Yeah, I agree totally.
So,
And I had a lot of guests recently that said the same thing, that gold miners will perform next, and they will perform big.
Yeah, gold miners. I mean, gold miners. The chart long term looks incredible for gold miners. But maybe that's for another video. But that's just it looks incredible. It's just on the verge of again 14-year breakout from the highs from 2011. So gold miners are definitely one to watch right here, right now.
Yeah, let's hope so. I'm fully covered with gold miners, so just like with uranium. So I don't mind to see a big move up.
Yeah, me neither. I have I have a lot of mining stocks across each sector. Most of them is uranium and gold and silver. Yeah. I also have copper, obviously, and platinum, physical platinum, and also some a tiny bit of miners, but they have been frustrating. So
yeah, so nice way to put it. Brilliant, Kasper.
I do not have anything further, on my plate here. So it's just if you have any final.
No, you did really a great job covering this, and we covered the main thing I wanted that we cover, and that is uranium, and you covered it really, really excellent. Thank you for it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hopefully we can do this again more regularly. It will be.
Yeah, Kasper, it has really been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope with the next month or two we can really cover more uranium explorers. Maybe we can touch on gold miners.
Yeah,
they will probably by then make a move, especially in the silver miners as well, copper as well. Those are all commodities that are in my portfolio, just like in yours. So thank you for this chat. It was unbelievable, and good luck, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.